It starts with
one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock takes life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on to didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to remind myself how I tried.
Nobody ever believed that there was this great a risk of convicting an innocent person, much less executing them. And now the risk of wrongful conviction and execution has been established is much higher than anybody believed. And the debate now about capital punishment in the United States has changed. It's not just a moral issue for people, because reasonable people can differ as to whether the death penalty is a morally appropriate sanction for the most heinous of crimes. But nobody believes that you ought to execute an innocent person. That's a non-starter as a moral question. And now we know that that's a significant risk, so that's point one. Point two, and the National Academy of Sciences just recently produced another report on this, there's no sound proof that this deters. Capital punishment does not deter. Just take the state of California. In the state of California, it takes 26 years between a death sentence and an execution. They've had very few executions in the state. Most people die of old age in prisons. Now, how does that help family members of a murder victim who want closure, if you believe that it really does bring closure? Some do, some don't. But 26 years? If you believe it deters, although the evidence is clear it doesn't, how do you get deterrence if it takes 26 years? Even if you're one of those people that believes in retribution, it's a morally appropriate sanction, if it's not instituted for 26 years, it's not achieving anybody's purpose. And it's also incredibly expensive. So in the state of California, they estimate over the next 5 years it would cost them $1 billion to continue with the death penalty. Just in the last 5 years, state after state, the state legislatures have said, look, it's not an issue of whether you think capital punishment is a morally appropriate sanction, because if you do public opinion polling, 65% of the people believe that. 35% believe it's immoral for the state to kill. But where people are coming together now is the punishment of life without the possibility of parole versus the death penalty. And then all of a sudden the public opinion polling, it's about 50-50. And then if you add in, as in California, the incredible expense of this, and you begin to realize if we put all our money into this capital punishment system that doesn't deter, that can't get things right, that has a risk of executing the innocent, and then you take that money, that criminal justice dollar, and you put it into so many of our innocence reforms, for example, that not only protect the innocent but help law enforcement catch the guilty, whether it's better forensic science or eyewitness reform or videotaping interrogations. We're safer spending that money on these other pursuits rather than on the death penalty, which is so problematic. But if that happens in California, after you have this whole trend of 5 states in 5 years, and then California, there are a number of other states that are on the verge. The governor of Oregon has said he thinks the system is broken. He won't execute anybody. So there's quite a few states that I think are in play. And if you get up to 10, 11, you can't just have the death penalty for a few states that are the ones that do the most executions. For Texas or Virginia, you just can't have it for just a few states. And I think under those circumstances, the United States Supreme Court will invalidate it under the 8th Amendment.
When you were standing in the wake of devastation, when you were waiting on the edge of the unknown, and with with a cataclysm raining down. Inside's crying, save me now. You were there, impossibly